Hello. So this is Office Hours, and I'm here to answer your questions. If you have any questions for me, then come to the Discord. I don't answer questions on the YouTube chat, but yes, come join us on Discord in the Office Hours channel. You can find Discord by coming to kentcdawes.com/office hours, where you'll find all the information about what you're watching right now. And there's a link to the KCD Discord community thing where you can learn about that. And it's a good place, a good time. It's fun. And yeah, I think that's everything I'm going to say. So any questions from Amber, who seems to be the only one here right now? We're a little bit early.
Uh, okay, I want to ask, but you seem to be using TypeScript a lot lately. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about it? What do you think about it in terms of being, a barrier to entry for people who don't know it, with how awesome it is?
Yeah. So that's the primary reason why it's been so long before I decided to start using it for open source and teaching material, is because for open source I didn't want to slow people down in contributing because they didn't know TypeScript. And I've been using TypeScript for a long time. At PayPal over 2 years ago, I started using TypeScript. But I haven't used it very heavily, which is why if you watch my live streams, you'll see like, wow, this guy doesn't know TypeScript very well. But I do have experience with it. But I always just said, no, I'm not gonna jump into it for open source because then that's a barrier to entry for people. But in the back of my mind was always this thought, well, yeah, I can, but you also require 100% code coverage for all of the open source projects. So they're either learning how to write a test, which maybe they know how to do, maybe they don't, or they're learning how to write TypeScript. And they're basically, TypeScript is static testing. So I should have seen the light earlier, I think, and just said, you know what, I'm going all in on TypeScript because it really is just so nice. And as far as like teaching material, that's another area where I'm starting to think. This is the announcement that I made just to see what people thought about that. Most people are gung ho, which is what I expected to be the case, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do it. But yeah, so for teaching, I don't want people who don't know TypeScript to not be able to learn this non-TypeScript stuff that I'm teaching them. So if I'm teaching about TypeScript, then yeah, of course I'm going to use TypeScript. But if I'm teaching about React Create Element, then I don't want TypeScript to get in the way of their experience learning that. And so that's why I haven't done TypeScript for teaching material. But I was talking with Ryan Florence yesterday. That's what got me thinking about this. And I don't know how we got onto this topic of conversation, but he said, yeah, we switched over to TypeScript for React training. And I was really surprised. And he said, well, we would go to these workshops at these companies, and I would ask them, raise your hands if you use TypeScript. And literally everybody would raise their hands at all these companies that they were teaching. And they went to teach like companies. They would sometimes do ticketed workshops where it's just like a lot of random people, which is what I do mostly. I don't do companies as much as they did, or do. But so anyway, he was just like, well, everybody's using TypeScript already. And then he would also have people ask him questions and say, hey, why isn't like my editor popping up these suggestions that I'm so used to? They didn't even know that that's a thing that TypeScript does. They didn't know how painful it is to just write regular JavaScript. And so like they were just so used to TypeScript. So he decided that, and then also there's not a whole lot, especially when you're doing like basic JavaScript stuff. TypeScript's pretty good at inferring, and if you have pretty loose compiler rules, like you can have explicit and implicit any is fine and whatever, then there's it's kind of like a choose your own adventure where you're like mostly writing JavaScript. Only sometimes do you have a situation where TypeScript's yelling at you and you might get stuck or something. Especially for like the basic stuff that you're teaching now. I would probably have a bit of a hard time getting some of the like patterns that I teach to not have TypeScript be super invasive, which is why I just need to explore what a conversion to TypeScript would be like for all of my existing material, and see how invasive it would be. And if it is really invasive, then I'd probably go with having a JavaScript file and a TypeScript file, and like you can choose which one you want to do, or something like that. I'm still not sure how I'm going to deal with that. But anyway, long answer to your short question. I think that TypeScript is becoming industry standard for all of the people that I want to reach. And so that's why I'm really starting to consider using TypeScript for all my stuff, including teaching stuff, which is something I never thought I would do. And in fact, I seem to remember saying that I would never do that. I would never use TypeScript as for teaching unless I was teaching TypeScript. And now I'm starting to think maybe I will. So
Yeah, I remember hearing you saying that before, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'll be honest. So Ryan Florence does influence me, and I highly respect his opinions and thoughts. And so I was just really surprised when he said that, and it just made me reconsider. And yeah, so we'll see. It will. I'll also mention that I'm not going to update the repos until the videos have been changed. So the intent is that the code that you're looking at and working in Epic React and testing JavaScript, that same code is what's in the repos. So like as you're watching me go through the videos, you should be looking at the same stuff in the video or in the repos. Now sometimes I'll change files that live around those things, and I've even changed the workshop app a little bit from what you see in the videos, but for the most part that code is the same. And so I don't plan on rewriting all of it to TypeScript, and then you watch the videos and I'm in JavaScript and then you're in TypeScript in the repos. I think that would be kind of silly. So for Epic React, this means that it will be quite some time before that would be migrated to TypeScript, because it just takes a lot of work to record and edit 350 videos. So yeah, that may be a while. I think the first one that would get this treatment would be testing JavaScript, which actually makes a lot of sense, because I do teach how to set up TypeScript in there, and then we just like, here's how you do TypeScript. Let's get back over to our JavaScript nonsense. So I think it would make sense to do that one first, and then once that is finished, then I can work on TypeScriptifying Epic React if I ever get around to that. So we'll see what the future holds there. Okay, cool. Any other questions here in Zoom? All right, sweet. So let's see where, I know there was a lot of chatter in here, but I'm not sure how much of it. Yago, is this question still, did you still have this question, or did we talk about this already?
No, this was after the last office
Oh,
hours. Just
okay, yeah.
clarifying like a issue with that pattern that I showed you. Just you got to be aware of the use memo dependency array.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. So then Deepak, we've got. Let me just make sure nobody else answered this one really quick. Yeah, okay. Parent app makes an API call. Okay, so we're talking about testing. Got it. Yeah, okay. So Deepak, hopefully you're watching this now. Here. I'm answering your question now. Did I? Yeah. Here it is. Copy that. just to make sure that they don't miss it. So in answer to your question, there are a couple ways to go about this. If you are really confident in those children being tested in isolation from the parent, then you can actually mock out those children components with jest.mock. Here's the path to the module, and then you would create your own version of those components that simply return null or a div or something. I don't recommend this approach, but it's definitely an approach that you could take if you're like, yeah, those are really totally isolated. They're good being tested by themselves. I just want to test this little bit of logic in the parent. I don't want to have to render all this stuff. So that's one approach to what you could do. The other is to use MSW, which actually, yeah, no, that's wrong. MSW here. Let's just do blog mocking fetch. So here I tell you how you can stop mocking fetch by using MSW. And so if you get that set up, for those other children components, you're probably going to want to have those tested anyway. And so you can set up server handlers with MSW for all of those. And then it doesn't make a difference. You just have it have those server handlers for the parent and one for each one of the children. And you just have them sitting there waiting for the request to come in. And then you can have those children tested in isolation, and you can test the parent without worrying about mocking anything because MSW is just handling those requests for you. So that's the approach that I take. And you'll see like in the bookshelf app and stuff as part of Epic React, I show you that. There's also the testing React apps workshop in Epic React where I show you that as well. So yeah. So the general question, is it a good practice to mock child components itself instead of the APIs? And that, yeah, I wouldn't say one is a good practice necessarily or another. It's, I was going to say it's an art, not a science, but it just seems kind of weird to say that. But I normally try both and see which I like or which I dislike the least. And yeah, so give that a shot. Personally, I'd probably go with set up server handlers, like mock those API calls with MSW, and then just test all of them as much as I want. I'd probably just test the parent, and then if I find that the children aren't getting covered the way that I want them to, then test those separately as well. But in any case, you're going to need to mock out those children API calls anyway. And so that's why I start with the parent. So anyway, good luck. And on top of that, another reason I start with the parent is because then I can make sure that the integration point between the parent and the child is working. And I don't have to worry about making sure, okay, well, I'm mocking the child, so therefore I must also assert that it's being used properly. Otherwise, I lose it. And then you have to make sure that you keep your mock and your real implementation in sync, which, as far as I know, there's not really any automated way to do that. So you could end up with something being out of sync, and that's the biggest reason why I typically say go with an integration test. You get more confidence that way. Okay, cool. So curious to so this wouldn't replace React Query. They're kind of different things. So React Query is intended to manage asynchrony, and that's not just data fetching. That's any asynchrony. React Query can help you with that. It's intended mostly for data fetching, but like you could put Bluetooth integration and stuff in there too if you wanted to. Maybe like any asynchronous thing. It's mostly data, but this fetch wrapper idea is just for getting data, and so you would use them together. And in the bookshelf app, that's what we do in Epic React. So yeah, Tiger is yeah, I think yeah, they're supposed to be the same. As far as like the React Query v3 changes, they're actually, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I didn't I read through the migration guide. I haven't tried to upgrade, but there really weren't that many impactful changes to the videos. So I wonder if maybe his video lessons, he's talking about Tanner, who has the React Query Essentials. Which, by the way, if you want to have, or if you want to go buy that, I have a coupon code that's like 20% off. So let me know. Okay, talking about React Query. Here, I'll just get that for you because I don't want to answer it later. So it's KCD React Query Essentials. There you go. So if you want 20% off, kcd.im/React Query Essentials will save you $30. So good game. All right, sweet. So Paul is here. Hi there, Paul. Let me just read through your question here really quick. Oh yeah, dependent queries. I saw you ask this somewhere else too. Or maybe this is where I saw it. Yes, Ricardo answered. Hopefully that answer was sufficient. Paul, let me know if that answer was not sufficient, but this is a solved problem. It's they have that guide in there. So let me know if you need a deeper dive on that. I've never done it myself to be, yeah, I've never done it myself, but it seems pretty natural. Yeah, so I thought about doing a branch for the TypeScript version. The problem is keeping those things in sync is really difficult. So rather than doing a branch, I think I'd rather do like maybe, so lots of the workshops are React fundamentals. Like almost all of the workshops are like this, where you have a source directory and then exercise right here. And so I'm thinking that maybe we could do an exercise -ts and a final -ts, and it would just be, we just have a silly number of files and you just have to choose which one you want to work with. And that's something that we could probably do today. And then people could just go with the TypeScript one if they want to do TypeScript. That probably would work. Yeah, I don't know. I need to play around with it, and I know that there's going to be somebody out there who's like, I'll do it, I'll help you, and I love and appreciate you for that. But let's wait until I've tried some things out first. Okay. Yeah, mutation is not a constructor. Yep, seen this. Yeah, okay, so I think I know what project you're talking about. It's like the, is it that COVID or the health department something, that's a Create React app. And I'm guessing that it's older, which is why it doesn't have the latest version of Jest, and therefore the latest version of JS DOM. So the best thing would be to upgrade React scripts in the project. That would be awesome. But I imagine, I mean, there's not a whole lot of breaking changes, so you might give that a shot and see what they think, if they're interested in doing that. Because if you do that, then you're done. You're set. If that doesn't work for some reason or something, then yeah, this solution works great. Yeah, you could also install Jest directly, and then instead of calling React scripts test, you'd call Jest, and then you'd have to configure it yourself, and you'd also have to add the skip pre-flight check to the .env. So yeah, a couple options there, but the best one would be to upgrade React scripts if you can. And therefore Jest, that's the real thing you want to get upgraded. Okay, that's the end of the questions, which actually is fine because I kind of wanted to finish the thing I was coding before we started. But I am happy to hang out just for a second to see if anybody still has questions about whatever. This is while I'm waiting for any other questions to come in. So December 24th, let's see, you know what? I'm going to cancel the 21st as well, because that's like, it's Christmas week. So yeah, December, I'm not going to do any office hours next week. And then I probably, maybe we'll do office hours on the 28th. I'm not sure. This may be the last office hours of the year. We'll see. Not going to promise that I will or will not do office hours. I can definitely promise that I will not do office hours on the 24th. I probably won't do office hours on the 31st. My kids just got out of school today, and I told my wife that after today, I'm not working until they go back to school. So it's kind of Christmas break time. So all right, with that, I'm not seeing any other questions. So it's fun hanging out with you all. I am planning on trying to finish the thing I was working on. I think it'd be really great if I could finish that. So we'll see. Kind of skeptical that I will. But yeah, if you want to watch me there, then I'll be in the Kent Live channel here. But I'm also going to be on Zoom, just like this, streaming to YouTube. So feel free to join me over there in a second. So it's been fun. It's been real fun.